Today I'm going to be painting a crab guy from Reaper Miniatures, and I'm going to be using exclusively Pro Acryl paints. To start this miniature, I'm going to be base coating the shell parts with a beigeish red / burnt sienna paint from Pro Acryl, and this has super nice coverage, it's super vibrant, and it's a really good start for the color that I hope to achieve. And this is just going on those shoulder pads and knee pads. This is a perfect example of the amazing coverage that the Pro Acryl line offers, and also the incredible color saturation. Now I'm using a Payne's gray color to base coat the shell, the arms, and the legs. This paint has quickly become one of my go-to for non-metallic metal or shadows for many different colors. There will be plenty of texture to highlight later, especially with this super nicely detailed crab shell. I'm also picking out the little bits of trim on the middle of the shoulder pads. Now I'm going back in with a second coat of that beige red and burnt sienna just to fully get that color in there. Same deal with the knee pads. Now I'm using a dark golden brown to base coat the chest plate. It is a beautiful, rich, dark, yellowish brown color. It is also perfect for non-metallic metal gold. One thing I've also noticed about the Pro Acryl line is how consistent the thickness of the paint is throughout the entire range. I don't have the full range, but I have quite a few of their colors, and there's maybe only one or two that are super varied in their consistency. Now I'm base coating the sort of plate mail or scales or something that's on this model, and purple is a color that I've always found to be really difficult to get a nice solid base coat with great coverage on, and Pro Acryl's Royal Purple from the signature series of Vince Venturella, it has been an amazing paint. It base coats super well. And now I'm starting to base coat the shell with some of that Payne's gray mixed with some gray blue. Of course, a wet palette will make this process 10 times faster and easier. Like I said previously, there's plenty of detail to pick out on this shell, so it will be super visually appealing when the model is complete. I'm looking for maybe 70% coverage of this color over the original Payne's gray layer. Now I'm starting to highlight those shoulder pads with a lighter mixture of beige, red, and burnt sienna, and I think I mixed a little ivory in there as well. This is a relatively thick highlight, and it's not a super precise edge highlight. Now I'm base coating the areas I forgot to base coat with the Payne's gray. I am adding the first layer of highlights to the purple with a mixture of royal purple and ivory. Now for a brighter highlight on the shoulder pads with more and more ivory mixed in there. These are some long and thin highlights now on the very edges. I'm making sure to point these highlights upwards and on the areas of the shoulder pads and knee pads that are facing the light. Here I am highlighting the chest plate with a mixture of that dark golden brown and the regular golden brown. I found that this part of the model was super fun to highlight as there were many little details and rivets. Now I'm starting to glaze some dark golden brown into the very recessed areas of the shoulder pads. This will just give it a little more depth and fix up some of those areas where I over-highlighted. Now I'm highlighting the purple again, this time brighter and smaller. And here I mix in a little bit of pale yellow along with more ivory into the royal purple. That'll just give it an extra bit of tone and variation in color. Now it's time for an even brighter highlight with some more of that Payne's gray mixed with gray blue. It is now mostly gray blue, but there's still just that faintest little hint of that Payne's gray in there. Probably about 40% coverage here, a good bit, but not enough to cover up the other layers of highlights. I'm doing some more highlights on the knee pads with, I believe now it's just pure beige red. And on the shoulder pads, I did a precise edge highlight along the very top and bottom ridges. I decided I wasn't a fan of that red color that I originally put on the face, so now I'm painting it with that royal purple. And here is pure golden brown, and I'm highlighting that chest plate up even further. Golden brown is a nice earthy tone that really elevates whatever color you mix it into, and it's also very good by itself. Once again, I'm picking out the uppermost regions of the chest plate. Once again, I'm mixing more gray blue and ivory into that Payne's gray. There is almost zero Payne's gray in here, just one brush full. And then I mix it into majority of the gray blue and ivory. And this is now, I would say, 10, maybe 15% coverage, just on those like bulges in the shell and on the stars and barnacles and stuff. I'm also doing some sketchy highlighting on the flat areas just to give it some more depth. Now I'm using pale yellow and golden brown. I would say now there's probably more pale yellow in that golden brown. And I'm picking out the rivets and the edges and that like filigree pattern just to make everything pop. Now I am using green from Pro Acryl and I'm base coating this crab arm. I thought green would be a very nice accenting color to all of this blue and tan and brown. I'm doing a first layer of highlighting onto the face with some pale yellow mixed into the royal purple. Here is pure gray blue and ivory mix. There is no Payne's gray in here anymore. Here I'm once again mainly just picking out the rivets, the barnacles, and the starfish on here. And while I was at it, I was also base coating these shoes with that royal purple. Now I have mixed more ivory and gray blue together, mostly ivory now. What's really cool about this shell is they leave a lot of blank space and flat areas open, so you can do some sketchy highlighting like I'm doing. You could do some stippling if you wanted to. It's very much open to possibilities. And throughout the last several weeks that I've been painting with Pro Acryl paints, I've noticed that The ivory is a color that you can mix into almost any color if you want to make it brighter. It sometimes can be a better alternative than white, and it doesn't desaturate the color at all. In fact, I think it bumps up the saturation, which is amazing, and ivory is a must-have color from the Pro Acryl line. Now I have mixed some bright pale green into that green, and I'm highlighting the crab claw. And now even more, and there might be a little bit of pale yellow in there as well. Now I'm using almost pure pale yellow. There's still a little bit of that golden brown in there. And once again, I'm highlighting the rivets and the filigree. Now I start fine lining the shoulder pads and the knee pads with nearly pure ivory. There's still some beige red in there, and this is just on the raised ridges, so I'm not getting any of this in the recesses, or at least trying not to. I'm being a little sloppier on the knee pads, especially since you can't see them very well. Now a bright purple mixture with royal purple and pale yellow. Doing a second round of that exact mixture just because I felt it needed to be brought up another notch. Now I'm doing the spear, so I didn't have a gray color from Pro Acryl, so I mixed faded green and gray blue together, and it made this super nice earthy gray color. And I'm using that to highlight the outermost bits of the spear and edge highlight the raised area and the edges of the spear. And then also doing a cylindrical highlight on the handle and a like 3/4 highlight on at the bottom of the spear, the little tip. And of course, picking out all the rivets. Now this may not look very good at first, but when it comes to a non-metallic metal-esque sort of highlighting approach to a weapon, it is always going to have its ugly stage, and this very much is the ugly stage. I have mixed some blue or white blue from the signature series of Vince Venturella's, and I'm making a brighter highlight on that spear. On one edge of the spear, I'm doing a highlight in the middle, and on the other edge, I'm doing one at the top and one at the bottom. Gives it that sort of reflective light look. I'm also going over the areas where I felt that I missed with the original gray mixture. Now I'm using a fine liner brush, and I mixed some white blue with a bunch of water on the wet palette, and I'm sort of glazing it over the black areas, trying to get a nice blend. This is an area that I struggle at, but I felt pretty proud with how this result turned out. Kind of using my finger to sort of blend it together, and I've mixed some Payne's Gray, and I did a glaze over that too, so just give it some blue, make it look more reflective and shiny. Now there's more white blue mixed in with that gray mixture that we made from earlier, and I'm edge highlighting and picking out the tip of the spear and the very middle of each bright area on the color shifting area of the spear. I'm also making sure to do some rough highlighting, some scratches to give it a well-worn weapon look. I found that white blue is a lot like the ivory color. It's very easy to mix in and keep that saturation of any color that it's mixed into. It's a super great, just straight highlight color, highlighting any sort of bright color with it, and I've used it quite a lot. Now here is pure white blue, and I'm scratching in some more highlights. Here's some more of that Payne's Gray glaze. I felt that it needed some more darkness in the shadows. Also sort of smudging this away with my finger. It's an easy blending trick. Highlighting the face a bit more with that pale yellow and royal purple. And I'm also starting to pick out the chest plate with almost pure pale yellow and a little bit of ivory. Also picking out some of the crab claw with that color. Like I said before, ivory is a pretty universal highlight color, so it works well on most of the miniature. Now here is where these shoulder pads transform, is when I do a pretty dry, not dry brushing, but almost dry brushing highlight of the tops of the shoulder pads. It really brought out and separated each of the little ridges on there, and it really made it pop. And now I'm base coating the base of the miniature with dark jade, also from Vince Venturella's signature series. And I grabbed one of my fancy dry brushes from Army Painter, and I'm dry brushing the base with turquoise. Make sure to use a dry palette when you're getting your paint for dry brushing, otherwise it will be too wet and it will streak. This is what brought the base to the next level and made it look super sea-like. Once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and paint the rim of the base black. This is the only non-Pro Acryl color, just because I don't own a Pro Acryl black, but otherwise that is the model. Thank you for watching. This is the final product. I'm very happy with this miniature. It is a super neat looking model, and I felt that the paint job really did this model justice. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.